Good evening and Jai Hind, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for making your time. Time is precious, and this is an occasion where we would all like to hear some voices which can bring some additional perspective to what we already know. And myself, Major Himanshu, and then we have on the guest panel, we have Colonel Pradeep and Colonel Ajay. One is an infantryman, Colonel Pradeep, and Colonel Ajay from an artillery regiment is here. They are here with us. And today, on the occasion of Vijay Diwas, 1971 war, where India, with a resounding thrust and victory, proved the military proved its mettle. We are here to discuss the topic of interest, which is Vijay Diwas. Where did we? How did that happen? What were the implications? And post-war, what really happened? And today, how exactly does that shape our geopolitics and even geomilitary aspects of it? Small introduction there, but more important is our esteemed guest. I would invite Colonel Ajay to just have a quick 30 seconds update about him, and then I will hand it over to Colonel Pradeep, and then we go from there, and I will moderate with the timeline where we are having about 20 to 25 minutes of our esteemed guest speaking on this topic. I will moderate, and thereafter I would request our guests to start powering in their questions. They can raise their hands. They can also start speaking. Once you raise your hand, I will request to call you out, and then you can speak, so that we have an interactive discussion and also understand the current implications of what has happened in the past. Resounding victory. How do we stay victorious, especially in the changing geopolitics of what we are seeing right now? With that, Colonel Ajay, over to you, sir.
Thank you and good evening. Jai Hind to everybody. I'm Colonel Ajay Rana. I took premature retirement in 2017. I'm a gunner, commanded 93 medium regiment. I've been writing, in fact, I was writing when I was serving, and I continued that. I do nothing else. So now 25th book of mine is gone for publication. So I authored 25 books, more or less about military history. That's my passion. And, I think that's it.
Sure, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Colonel Pradeep, sir, we have already listened. For those new viewers and audience, certainly would like a small intro of yours, please. You are muted, sir.
Okay now?
You're good. Please go
Okay
ahead.
now?
Yes, sir.
All right. I am from the 9th Gurkha Rifles, 2nd 9 Battalion, 2nd 9. And well, I also took premature retirement, like Ajay says. I took premature retirement in 1989 after more than 2 decades of service. Well, I'm not much of a writer, though I have written something. But having been in most of the field areas of the country, I'm more of a soldier than, and of course, in the training establishments and at the College of Air Warfare and also the web. Well, that's it. Counterinsurgency, high altitudes, one after the other. And ultimately, the topic today is where I really enjoyed exposure as a youngster with about three years service, 3.5 years service. And well, I loved it. And I beckon all youngsters today to feel grateful if you can get into the battle. With that, I go back to you, Himanshu.
Thank you, sir. So since we have Colonel Ajay for the first time here, I'm taking this opportunity to ask him and begin this conversation. Sir, The topic is absolutely Vijay Diwas. We know 1971 war. How exactly did it happen? There are some intricacies to it in terms of the exodus of the Bangladeshis and the political turmoil, and how General Manekshaw, how he led the war, Operation Trident from Navy. So I'm not getting into these details while alluding to these details, but where I would request you to begin and give us a perspective of your understanding, especially as an author. How do you think, why do you think this whole situation unfolded? What were the fallacies that you would have liked to address at a military level, or even if you would like to address even beyond into the other spheres, which we may not be aware of? And what really led to the success of it, the post-war? So a comprehensive analysis of it, so that we are able to understand. What we simply see is Vijay Diwas, some social media posts and these kind of conversations, but we do tend to miss out the in-depth analysis. So your summary will certainly add to our exposure. So over to you.
Thank you, Himanshu. 1971, of course, is one decisive war. We celebrate Vijay Diwas because a war leading to such a result, clear cut. Such wars seldom happen. We've seen what's happening in Ukraine. It's been happening for many, many months now. It is short, surgical kind of a war. And like you said, most of it part is known to everybody. I'll just highlight few things about this. See, when Pakistan came into being, the people who actually asked for Pakistan or did kind of struggle or agitation, they were most of them Bengalis, Bengali intellectuals. If you look at the history of people who got jailed or who bore the burnt of Britishers, you'll not find many Punjabi Muslim names there. So it was basically an idea which came from Bengal. And but after independence, the kind of unfair treatment which was given to Bengali, so that led to the dissatisfaction. And then 25th March 71, Operation Searchlight, which is a day in itself, which can shame any army anywhere in the world. That happened. And thereafter, of course, people picked up arm and order. What I would like to bring out is that while India was pulled into it, uh, sucked into this thing, because so much of about a million Bangladeshi refugees came into India, and as a neighbor or from the angle of human assistance, we extended it. And Mrs. Gandhi made it very clear first day that you're most welcome, but one day you'll go back. It's another thing that they're not gone, they've gone back and come back. That's another thing. But in that context, idea was very clear that we'll assist them, host them, and then once things settle down, they go back. What we didn't really let come out to public was that before the massacre of Bengalis by Pakistan Army happened, massacres of Hindus also happened in Bangladesh. Trains were stopped on top of a bridge, and then 1,000 odd people were killed. Somehow those things are now part of history, so no point. But at some point, India had a plan to cut Bangladesh, today's Bangladesh, or that is East India, East Pakistan, into two halves. Across Meghna, east of it, adjoining our eastern states. Plan was to liberate that area and hand it over to Bengalis. And area which hugs Calcutta, that is western part of East Pakistan, was as per plan not to be taken by us. It was to be left free. But then, thanks to General Sagar Singh and what happened across Meghna, that airlift, which was all his initiative, and it happened that way, and we reached Dhaka. That became a history. The major point is that Rao had a very good presence in Bangladesh. Unfortunately, after 71, we just removed Rao from there, and we created a space for ISA there. Now, what has happened there is that before 71, these Punjabi Pakistani army, as people say, knows, is Punjabi army, they call it, because 52% of cadre is from Punjab, Pakistan. So the influence they had, and the people who were kept hostages in Pakistan, somehow the narrative built by Pakistan was such that when they came back, they started, you call it Stockholm syndrome, you call it whatever. Over a period of time, many good people, in fact, I'm going to publish a book written by a officer who was a captain that time, and he was one person who had some sane voice, so he was thrown out of Bangladesh army. He settled it. He's MLA, kind of MLA in UK today. So he gives a very different perspective that how over next 5 or 6 years, all good deeds done by India, see, we liberated them. We didn't even ask for anything, including chicken neck, broadening of chicken neck, whatever people say. We didn't take anything, and in fact, gave them back their honor, their dignity, their liberty. Somehow, over the next 1 decade, we lost the plot. One reason was that we pulled out our resources, our whatever operatives were there, they were not supported. And then what happened in Shimla is another story, and that's the reason where more than war, I see the turning point, which because of which we keep suffering, or because of which we have some issues even today. War was not end of it. What I'm trying to say is that war was one part of it. It was well fought. Army fought very well, gave it to politicians to settle it, and there at the highest level, some decisions happened, which led to a situation where today we are waiting for our 54 braves who are, I don't know whether they're alive, or how many of them are alive, or how many of them sane today, lying in Pakistani jail. 93,000, half of them Faujis and half of them civilians, given back. And when you look at the flow of the history, we played a big brother's role when it came to Shimla agreement. We said, okay, we'll support Bhutto. He goes back with strong hands and he'll control his army. So let's liberate, or let's give them all the 93,000 people. Let's get Bangladeshi in prisons into Bangladesh back. So we forgot our 54. We forgot to settle disputes like chicken neck was not a dispute, but something else could have been done. Kashmir was, we just left it aside and let it just signed a line saying, okay, it's going to be bilateral hereafter, which Pakistan is not agreed to. And on ground, they keep running to UN. So it's a story which is a military victory, but overall, it is not a very happy story. This is how I'll look at it. Today is not the day to like I really bring out such a things, but I think we all mature enough to understand that military victory, there's no doubt. Deep sir was, like he said there, he knows how it was fought. There's so many battles, so much space of gallantry. But as a nation, did we gain? I'm sorry to say, I don't agree. We faltered somewhere. We can blame people that I don't want to name people and who went to Shimla, who advised whom, but the fact remains, as a country, we couldn't encash on it. We should have, like intelligent nation, like today we say we look after our interest. That time we kept our interests aside. We were helping Bhutto to reestablish himself. We were helping Bangladeshis to get back from Pakistan, Western Pakistan, safely to East Pakistan. And in the bargain, certain things which we could have done, we didn't do. And those things are bugging even today. When we look at our Northeast, we look at the problems which are happening. So a military victory, some kind of a muddle which we created, instead of pointing fingers at who did it, but we must recognize the fact that there were people like General Sagar Singh who went beyond the narrative. They actually created. We know the stories that there was a tussle which happened. It's one of the books, first-hand witness, Veer Chakra officer, who wrote a book much later, about last year, and how it happened and how he disobeyed orders from top. So I think there was overall context. You had a nasty neighbor. US was supporting Pakistan, closing eyes to human atrocities happening, that blood telegram thing, and we all know what happened thereafter. Then Russia comes in. Then also came a point when I believe this is the narrative. I don't have evidence where Mrs. Gandhi wanted to sort out western part of Western Pakistan, take POJK back, part of the deal, which I believe Americans and Russians then convinced her. Russian foreign minister came to India. So while today we can sit and comment on things which happened, but probably those contexts we'll not be able to feel and understand. Pradeep sir, of course, being a soldier, probably will be able to explain that context, because he was there that time. I was 2 years old, just born. But what we can read from history and research is that things which could have been done a better way were not done. But when it comes to military part of it, we have 101 reasons to be proud of it. What our soldiers did, what our forces did, what our commanders on ground did, and what our top leadership military, like General Sagar Singh or the others also, who did their role very well and created something which we know as Bangladesh today.
Got it, sir. So very comprehensive, and sir, thank you. You summarized it well in a very short span of time, especially when you are an author. It's easy to just go on and on. So really appreciate how you made it concise. With that, sir, come Pradeep. Sir, your perspective. We've listened to the great stories that you bring with your own emotions, the military emotions that we've spoken in the past. But today, just wondering if you would also be able to share over years what you see this war to be. Why did this happen? The kind of fallacies, the kind of mistakes which we could have avoided, and what are the lessons learned at a macro level that we as military and we as a country can learn from it.
Well, thank you, Himanshu. My compliments to Ajay. He spoke very well researched. Concentrating on the Victory Day celebrations as such. We are talking about Victory Day celebration.
That's right.
Victory of liberation of Bangladesh and the Victory Day celebrations.
Correct.
Now, what is the background for this? Let me tell you very quickly. The earlier days in 1955 or so, even before that, the United Bengal did not vote for a partition in 1940. There was an Agartala agreement, which very interestingly, Agartala is in India, and the agreement pertains to East Pakistan. It was decided to have fair and clear elections in Bangladesh, East Pakistan that time. There were two main parties, the Awami League and the Muslim. What was that called? Muslim something. The remnants of that are visible today, where going back a little bit into that is that the Awami League had a thumping victory in the elections. Now this unnerved Bhutto and Yahya Khan. So one day, Yahya Khan declared these elections as null and void. Now this led to the agitation which led to Bangladesh. 24th of March, Mujib made a speech at the golf course at Savar, where he declared independence and called upon the people of East Pakistan to agitate and fight for liberation. Now, there was another background to it. Earlier, the Biharis who had gone into East Pakistan were fighting with the Bengalis right through. It was on the 25th that Zia-ur-Rahman read out the verdict on the radio, which Mujib could not do because of technical reasons. And later on, Zia went on to become president after assassinating Mujibur-Rahman. Now, this is all part of history. But the celebrations, why does Bangladesh carry this? Is that they called it the Mukti Juddh in Bengali. This was the call given by Sheikh Mujibur-Rahman. So all the Bengalis fought for their liberty. And that is the time when they looked up to India. In March itself, the first country to recognize Bangladesh was Bhutan. Surprisingly, Bhutan, even before India. The recognition was followed by India. And then, since Mujib was arrested and taken away, then released and then re-arrested, the battle inside East Pakistan for liberation by the Awami League and the locals was on. Then came the Operation Searchlight, where the elimination process took place. And they announced in that, Yahya Khan announced in that the women of Bangladesh are public property. Joner Joner the Donache. This is what they said. Now that remnants of that was seen later when we went into battle. We found everything there, atrocities, rape, loot, plunder, everything. So today I'm coming back to the Victory Day. Now, when I went to Bangladesh in 2017, with this Mukti Jodha, the freedom fighters and the Mukti Bahini are now known as the Mukti Jodhas. They occupy a place of pride in Bangladesh. And when we were received, we also got equal amount of pride or a little more honor from them. The entire Bangladesh was on the road, greeting us with flags and folded hands. Now, this is a huge victory for them. Also for the Indian Army, of course. Indian Army outnumbered them in technology and numbers, in our strategies and everything. Now, to say about why do they celebrate? Well, the nation was born. So every year they celebrate around this time, and a batch comes to Calcutta every year from there, around 80 of them. They come to West Bengal. They still feel part of West Bengal. It is that they have been divided. They still feel part of West Bengal. And the Victory Day is celebrated simultaneously in Dhaka as also in Calcutta, India. Now, from the political point of view, geopolitical point of view, the East Pakistan was a pinprick. India never wanted that partition. Some mistakes were made by the political leaders. I will not go into that. Everybody knows about it. Some wanted the kursi and did not live too long on that kursi. But the fact remains that even today, there is a fight going on inside Pakistan, Bangladesh between the Awami League and the Muslim League. You heard the name of Begum Zia. She still is in jail now. And every year we greet the Bangladeshis. I have a lot of links there. I keep talking with them. One of them is Anam. He's the editor of the Star. And one of my own कैंप में जिसको मैंने ट्रेन किया था, Abdul Wahab, he is an MP there now. So we greet each other. There is Martin Chaudhary, Major Martin Chaudhary. He's one of the highest decorated soldiers of the independent Bangladesh. And many more of them. There's so many of them. Of course, I remember Abdul Manan. Every year on this day, he was just 14 years old. And he really fought. He really fought. There's so many of them. If I start naming them, I think I'll take away all the time. I don't know if there's anything else to say except that Joy Bangla.
Sure,
Today
sure.
is Joy Bangla.
Yeah.
This was a battle cry, and it continues to remain the same. And to all the Bangladeshis, if they are on the net right now listening to this, Khub bhalo, Joy Bangla bolo.
Thank you, sir. And, thank you for that message as well. So like I said, first of all, thank you for the esteemed guests, the officers here who shared their perspectives, and we are right on time. So today, as in the previous conversations, I'm inviting the audience to ask their questions to make it a more meaningful, more interactive session. So looking forward, you can raise your hand, you can unmute, not at the same time, please. So if you raise your hand, it will be easier for me to coordinate. Let me look around. We have many participants here. We have Vidisha ji, Dilip ji, Lucky Dubey ji, Dr. Vijay. In fact, I see Colonel Sunil. So looking forward to to sharing your perspective, because when you share your perspective, I'm sure the counter perspective or some additional inputs will certainly come. And in case there are young people out here, then we are very happy to invite them to speak, because they are the ones who certainly need to know. They are the ones who certainly need to communicate out to our next generation. Everyone's muted, as I see. So while we are waiting for anyone to respond or ask any questions, and you can also put in the chat. So let me ask you, Colonel Ajay, you are an author. So all this has happened in the past. Vijay Diwas has happened. We've had a victory at a considerable loss in the second Vijay Diwas that we say, Kargil Diwas as well. Now, whatever is changing in our neighborhood right now, economics and the changing realities, and how our military has to be re-strategized, our military doctrine, our military operations, keeping in mind what we have already learned. Is there anything which is obviously non-confidential which you would like to share with the viewers, which gives additional perspective? Maybe there are some young people, or this feed goes out to some young people, and they understand this is how it could be done. So basically, we are targeting a message out for the decision makers and for the to-be decision makers. Any words of wisdom or advice, or your assessment?
Yeah, Himanshu, people on top know much more than what you and me will ever know. Of course, they have all the inputs, but looking at the geopolitics of our region, there's a big threat of fundamental Islamization of Bangladesh. What we're witnessing today in Bangladesh is something which doesn't augur well for the country. And with one troublesome neighbor we have on our west, if we also get into a situation where you have a equally troublesome neighbor on our east. See, till now, we going is good in the sense that Muzbir Mahan's daughter, she's open pro India, and as people like to say that India has been helping her in many ways, including what happened in G20 when the ice was broken between President Biden
I want to
and.
make a point here.
So,
Sorry,
please.
disturbing you.
So,
you mentioned Sheikh Hasina. You mentioned just now Sheikh Hasina is very pro-India. I would like to share. Yes, you have a point about the Islamization of the area, the ingress of the other fundamentalists. Within Bangladesh, there are fundamentalists. It's going on. Everybody knows about it. Sheikh Hasina, I remember in 2017 when I was there, we were talking, and she said, I asked a specific question. She said, we are very happy and protected on three sides by India. Why did she say that? Because it is the Awami League which is very, very pro-India, and Sheikh Hasina is always grateful. She said, we are grateful to the Indian army and to India for liberating us, for giving us our home. And another thing I must share with you, when we went to her house for the Prime Minister's house for the reception, there were no politicians there. Please note, there were no politicians there. No army officers there. It was only Sheikh Hasina, her personal security, and 26 of us. She received us at the entrance and saw off everyone with folded hands. So as long as Awami League is there, as long as Sheikh Hasina is there, well, I don't think we have too much to worry about, though the border skirmishes are still, they will always happen locally. And don't forget the ingress of the Biharis are still going in there. What to talk about Rohingyas? So all this will carry on and on. Geopolitically, India is quite happy. They are happy. Back to you, Ajay.
sir. All right. I think we said the same thing. Thanks for clarifying it further, sir. So with her in chair, Colonel Pradeep says, we're okay. But on ground situation is changing a bit. We've seen protests. See, she sorted out a lot of old jihadis and hung them every few months, years. But as of now, with US also coming into play, why US is trying to impress on her to leave the government and have an interim government come in and hold the next elections. That is something which is kind of see what US is doing. Okay, we come to the like Himanshu asked what's happening around us. All of us are talking of unknown gunmen doing things in Pakistan and where elsewhere. My reading of the thing is that Pakistan, which had swung into China's lap a few years back, now is back into Americans' lap. CIA has come back into Pakistan. Some kind of cleaning is happening in Pakistan. ISI has been forced, but CIA, American way of looking at India is that America wants India to play its game the way they want India to play their game, which India is refusing as of now. If American had their way, they'll make India and China fight and sort out both the countries and watch from far off. Which India, as it looks, is not really keen to do that. India is cooperating with America to a certain extent, beyond which there's a bit of friction. So if CIA is really coming to Pakistan, which we have so many signals, the chief is sitting in USA today, so Pakistan has CIA coming back after a gap. And CIA is now, if Americans also trying to finger things in Bangladesh in the next elections. So we may actually have a situation because ISI has a strong presence in Bangladesh as on date, compared to our agencies there. So then there's a situation for India where you have pressure points on two sides. As of date, what Colonel Pradeep has said is all perfectly all right. We have a pro-India government there. But say something happens in coming elections and Bangladesh regime changes, which can, how people do it all across the world. If that deep state comes into being, there's a threat developing on both sides. And I'm very sure India is also awake and alert about it. We hope and pray that she comes back full power. And as long as she's there, her party is there, our relations are going to be good. But then we can't really see this in isolation. The way demography of chicken neck has happened, changed over the past decade or so. Now it's now that Indian government has decided to declare it a very, very sensitive zone and hand it over part of it to CPOs and all. All these years we somehow slept over it. Demography of chicken neck has undergone a big change. It was not a fun that somebody sitting Delhi said, okay, let's go and strangle that chicken neck. Somebody has made this statement who's in jail today because he knew that what was happening in chicken neck. So the opponent of Sheikh Hasina, Sheikh Zia, she was kept in an officer's mess during 71, Pakistani officer's mess. Her husband was fighting against Pakistanis. She was kept as a keep. I'm sorry to use this word, but it's a fact which people must know. And after the war, that time Major Zia wanted to divorce her. Then Sheikh Mujibur Rahman told him that if you go by this yardstick, that any lady who's been violated needs to be divorced, then all ladies in Bangladesh will have to be divorced. This is what Tanu Pradeep is also seen first, how the ladies were treated. So having seen that kind of trauma, that kind of maltreatment or molestation on hands of Pakistani officers that time, it's very surprising that how the ladies now against India and playing in the hands of ISI. So there's so many things which happen in life, and think people tend to forget the worst of their times and uh, try to catch the wind to sail. I only hope that we have a favorable government in Bangladesh, so our eastern part is sorted out because our western part is as it is in turmoil. A lot of things are happening there. CA has inserted itself back into Pakistan not only to have a check over India, it is also planning to block China and have some kind of thing to do with Iran. So America's compulsion is Pakistan once again is a compulsion. So Pakistan, ISI, Bangladesh, these things are changing at a very fast pace. What's going to happen in 6 to 7 months? Very interesting times you're living. Our elections, whole world is going through elections. There's I think 27 countries which are going to have elections next year. Bangladesh is also one of them, and India being. So let's watch, and it's very difficult to predict what's going to happen. And we can only hope and pray that things will be okay for us with the kind of resolve which our government has, the kind of influence our government has, and we should be able to have a favorable government in Bangladesh. That's the only way forward.
Thank you, sir. Pradeep, you wanted to raise a point? Please.
Yes. I would like to endorse what Ajay said with a particular incident that happened on the 15th of December and following days. 15th of December, when the Pakistanis surrendered to us at Tamar Khali with a white flag. That is the time the backbone was broken. The prisoners started pouring in from the 9th Infantry Division of the Pakistanis. First man to fly in was General Ansari. He was flown in a chopper along with General Barar, our div commander. And on the 16th, we had the batches of prisoners coming in. Now, during the operations, I had this Mukti Bahini group under me, which was led by somebody. I wouldn't like to name him because he's not kindly treated in Bangladesh anymore now. He became a chief. But there was this Ghafoor there, Havildar Ghafoor of the East Bengal Rifles, and a few more fellows. They started looting the Pakistani surrender, those officers particularly, taking away the watches and the money and the rings, etc. So when I stopped these people from doing it, they said in Bengali, "Eita amar mati ache, apnare desh kokhon jabo tumi," means this is my soil now. When are you going back to your country? These are the things. There are factions in Bangladesh today. I agree with what Ajay said. There are factions in Bangladesh which are not very comfortable for us. I saw it very closely when I went there in December 17. We had so many rings of security around us, vertical and horizontal, and fifth dimension. So they are not, all of them are not loving India. One has said that we cannot love India. One of the authors has said that we cannot love India. All right. So these things are playing up there. They are boiling, and it's only the elections which will tell now. Let us see what the American influence or the Chinese influence comes in. But hopefully, Sheikh Hasina will come back. I would like her to come back.
Got it.
In India's better interest, to keep celebrating the Victory Day positively, rather than if she loses, God forbid, there will not be any Victory Day celebration between the two countries.
Makes sense.
Over to you.
Thank you, sir. So we have a question, which is decline of Hindu population in Bangladesh. There has been a lot of targeting. Now, the question is, do you think is it being managed, facilitated by the random fundamentalist group, or is it does it have more state patronage?
You want me to answer?
Yeah, sure, please, sir.
Sorry?
Yes, please, sir. Please answer. Share.
Well, I'm not very sure about this, about the reduction in the Hindu population. But certainly the Muslim population is in the majority there. And the decline could be possibly because they migrated back to West Bengal. There is a possibility. Last time I was talking to somebody on the forum, I think Abhilasha or Akanksha.
Sure, sir. Abhilasha, I think.
Abhilasha. She had her relatives there in Bangladesh, in Magura and other places. She doesn't know about them. So even I'm sorry, I will not be able to say anything on this. It's a very, very demographic issue which I have really not gone into as to about the decline. I'll be honest about it.
Sure, no worries, sir. Sir, over to you, please. You had a comment.
Yeah. See the treatment of Hindus, what Pradeep referred to, that those factions which are anti-India, they look at Hindu population in Bangladesh like they can't fight India, so they do things to them to kind of like we have Kali Pujo and all these things. A lot of stars were desecrated, our murtis were thrown out. This keeps happening in there because there's this presence of this fundamentalist element which is not only anti-India, it's anti everybody else, like the fundamentalists are. So they are playing their part. Of course, the decline of Hindu population has not been as drastic as it's happened in Pakistan or in Afghanistan. Afghanistan, of course, is a different country, but if you look at our own common identity, not that drastic, but there are reports that Hindus are being targeted, and it doesn't have state patronage under present government. No, in fact, whosoever is living there peacefully is because of this present government. Things will change and may change if results come out differently, which we hope and pray that they don't. So yes, a lot of news is coming in Facebook, also Twitter. Also, you'll keep every day there's a post that so and so temple desecrated, so and so stall done, some pujari targeted. Because when they do this, in a way, they're trying to take their whatever urge they have against India. So they do take it out on local Hindus wherever they're vulnerable. It doesn't mean that throughout Bangladesh they're vulnerable. There are pockets where there are very small numbers and there are people around them who are of that psyche.
Got it.
You see, it's can I come in?
Yes, sir, please.
Now, Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore lived in a place north of Kamarkhali called Kutibari. Kutibari. They're making a memorial there now. Now, the Hindu population was around that area in Kamarkhali also, and many other pockets, even in Dhaka. But what Ajay said, I agree totally that the fundamentalists will remain fundamentalists. And since they are non-Hindus, the radicalization has taken place. The places of worship are being vandalized. Not much publicity has been given to that in Bangladesh as compared to in West Pakistan or Afghanistan, like you said. But the day is not far when the bubble might burst. Go back to you, Himanshu.
Sure, sir. Sure. All right. So thank you so much, sir, for that. I'm still waiting. In case there is any other question, we'll wait for a minute more. And in case not, then obviously I would like to say thanks to our guest who shared such great perspectives and also on a Sunday evening spared their time. Wait. Any questions we are open on in the chat? All right. So with that, first of all, sir, Colonel Ajay and Colonel Pradeep, great interacting with you. With you, sir, Colonel Pradeep, it's always been, this is the third time I'm speaking with you. Colonel Ajay, great to know obviously you're a veteran, but the accomplishments in the literary field. So we look forward to speaking with you again, professionally here and also in person. So wonderful to talk today and wonderful to share your perspectives. Thank you, Colonel Ajay, and sir, Colonel Pradeep, thank you once again for your time.
Thank you very much for having us on the air.
Sure, sir.
Jai Hind.
Thank you,
Vande
sir.
Mataram.
Thank you, Himanshu. Jai Hind, Pradeep sir. Jai Hind, everybody, and good evening.
Jai Hind, Ajay, and God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
God bless.